How's it going, Coach?
Good, you?
Good.
Good.
Tyrese, Chris, are they going to play today? What's the...
Tyrese is playing, Chris is not.
Okay. What's how's things just going? I guess with Chris's injury, we asked a lot about Tyrese, but less with Chris.
What's going? How's it going?
Yeah. What's kind of holding him back? What's
going well.
Progress?
It's going well. He, he had a little thing that happened in one of the Detroit games, and so it was just a thing that needed to just calm down a little bit. I expect him to play sometime soon.
Okay.
Don't know when.
He's still kind of connected to the original injury back in November.
An offshoot of it. Yeah, connected for sure. Yeah.
Where have you seen Aaron grow the most this year? Almost the first full season under you.
Well, he's an amazing person. He's from a great family. I got to know their family in Charleston this summer because we have a place we live down there part of the summer, and spent a lot of time in the gym with them at Porter Goud. And his biggest area of growth is recognition of today's game. In college at Vanderbilt, he was the centerpiece of what they were doing offensively, and so Jerry Stackhouse, who was a tremendous coach at Vanderbilt, ran a lot of stuff for him. And our style is different, and really the style of the NBA game is quite a bit different than the style he played in college. It's more of a free-flowing read and react type game, and he needed to get accustomed to shots coming in unpredictable times. And really, as an athlete, that should be the best possible thing, because then you're a reactor, and you're not having to over process things at all. And as he's continued to get a better and better feel for that, his game just keeps going up. I never pictured him as being a four-man when the trade happened, but as things have evolved, he has the size and strength, the physical strength, he's fearless. He can sit down and physically take some of these big physical challenges, and he's a good blockout guy. So he ended up starting the majority of the year as our four-man, and last game in Toronto we had O'Shea Brissett starting because he was back home, and Aaron played 2 off the bench, and he played well at that position. So he can really play 2, 3, and 4. And so his versatility, his commitment to team, he's just like an amazing team guy. So just a constant energy giver type guy. Has made him a valuable part of our future.
That's this question about him a couple of times about his progress with the assignments that he gets, because he's obviously getting one of the 2 best players almost every night. How do you think he's gotten better? What is he doing well in those assignments that he's had to learn over the course of a season with getting players like that every night?
Well, he's an aggressive player by nature. Interestingly, when he came into the draft, he was not known as a defensive player. The supposed metrics of his college career were that he was, a below average defender. I mean, when he walked in the door for us, he was one of our better perimeter defenders. He is aggressive, and I think where he's had the most growth is, as he's learned to play to defend these high level players, and to learn to do it without fouling. It's just like he and Drew, they have the 2 best players almost every night. I mean, you look out there and we're playing the Clippers, and Drew's guarding Kawhi Leonard, and Aaron's guarding Paul George. I mean, it's like crazy, difficult. So that's part of the whole thing. What was the rest of the question?
That was pretty much it. It's just how he's progressed, basically, in terms of dealing with those guys. You mentioned the fouling, and just guarding that kind of player really
I
for
mean,
the
just
first time, I guess.
you know, just making his game as simple as possible in our system. You know, be a great runner, be a great open shooter. You know, drive wide gaps. You know, embrace the challenge of guarding, you know, guys like Tatum and Brown, you know, and that kind of thing, and just go hard, you know. The other thing I love about him is that, you know, whenever he's been dinged up with some kind of injury, he really works at getting back as quickly as possible. He hates missing games, and that's, you know, that's an important quality in today's game.
I didn't have a chance to ask you yet about flying TJ to Greensboro, by the way. I know you had a pilot's license a little bit, but how did that all come about? Were you planning on flying out that way anyway, or is it an idea?
Well, the original plan was to take Tyrese to watch Iowa State, but it didn't work out.
Oh.
So now me and my friend Mike Matthews from Cirrus Aircraft. You know, he's one of the regional sales rep for the Vision Jet, which is a single engine jet, which is like just a super cool thing, man. It's like, you know, if you're old enough to have ever seen the Jetsons, it's like flying around in one of those. You know? So, you know, he's a CSIP, he's an instructor. So you know, when I fly with him, I can fly left seat and be, you know, pilot in command, at least supposedly, you know. And yeah, so, you know, when it didn't work out for Iowa State, you know, Xavier advanced to that round, same place, Greensboro. He called me and asked me if it was okay if he took a commercial flight, you know, to Charlotte and then drove over there. And so we had these tentative plans. So I called Mike back and I said, hey, are you guys still interested in doing this? Because, you know, TJ's really close with Sean Miller, and he said, yeah, I already asked my wife's permission, so, you know, we're still good if you guys want to do it. So I called him back, and so we did it. We did it. It was great. Yeah.
So if they would have played, would you taken both of them? Because Iowa State was supposed to play Xavier if they had won. Could you fit in both?
Well, wait a second. They would have played each other?
I'm pretty sure, because I think Pitt beat Iowa State, if I'm not mistaken. That's who played Xavier, I think. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
Anyways,
I don't know
So
about
you
getting
don't
into those kinds of hypotheticals, but
Right.
Possibly.
Right.
Possibly, yeah. That would have been interesting.
Right.
Yeah. I think the answer is probably yes.
Okay.
You know. So, anyone else got anything related to basketball?
I have a basketball question. Just going back to the read and react offense you're talking about. You know, last year you talked a lot about getting away from play calls and just being kind of completely read option based, and it seems like a lot of other offenses in the NBA are starting to embrace that. It's something Joe Mazzulla talks a lot about. What made you want to go in that direction when you got to Indiana, and when did you start to see that trend starting to emerge in the league?
Well, you know, we do some play calling, but the majority of it is our point guards. They do it on the court. And the answer is Jason Kidd. When I was with him in Dallas, you know, part of the way through my first year, it just became obvious that, you know, me calling plays was not the right thing. And we had, you know, one of the great point guards in history who also had a great pulse on the game, and, you know, and I think who really wanted the responsibility of doing it. And so, you know, I remember back at that time, you know, before all this super digital stuff, got him a CD of, you know, a list of the play, and he knew them anyway, so it really wasn't even necessary. And he started doing it, and when we made that change, our season took off, and ever since, you know, the game has just gotten faster and faster. So if you got a high octane game and you're slowing it down with, you know, point guards having to look over to the bench, and, you know, it's just too much. You got to, you know, what I've learned is, you know, acquiring the right kind of point guards. In our case, we have three tremendous, you know, point guards with Halliburton, McConnell, and Nembhard. I mean, these guys all think the game. They're all future coaches if they want to be, you know, and stuff like that. And these guys can process that stuff, and they love the challenge of doing it, and they love the responsibility. So we turn them loose, You know, we turn them loose, and a lot of times we come into huddles, and I'll ask those guys, you know, what they like, you know, in those kinds of in situation stuff. So, but Jason Kidd was the one that really helped convert me to that way of thinking, and you know, it's really the way the game needs to be played today.
Great. Thanks, everyone.